Connor Bedard is a 17-year-old phenom who has been labeled a generational talent. Bedard was granted exceptional status into the WHL in 2020. Since then, he has dominated the WHL, scoring 90 goals, 102 assists for 192 points in 105 games. He was also a main contributor for Canada, winning gold in the 2022 World Juniors. Today, I'm going to be simulating his career to see if his hype is justified. Will he be a bust or a future superstar? I guess we'll find out. I've taken the bottom 10 teams in the league at the moment, put them into a wheel, and we're going to see who gets to select Connor Bedard in the 2023 NHL draft. And Connor Bedard will be going to the Vancouver Canucks, his hometown team. Bedard will be starting out his career on a line with Elias Pettersson and Ilya Mikheyev. At the end of year number 1, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 48, 31, and 3. Bedard only played 40 games, but in those 40 games, he scored 20 goals and added 21 assists for 41 points. But the Vancouver Canucks would lose to the Golden Knights in round number 2. At the end of year number 2, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 51, 22, and 9. Bedard had 43 goals and 39 assists for 82 points in 70 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would lose in the Stanley Cup Final to the Carolina Hurricanes. Bedard had a very good playoff run. In 22 games, he scored 12 goals, 17 assists, 29 points. And in year number 3, Bedard is now a 94 overall. He's on a line with Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser. At the end of year number 3, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 50, 27, and 5. Bedard absolutely exploded this year, scoring 48 goals, 62 assists, 110 points in 81 games. The Vancouver Canucks would get swept in round number 1. Bedard would collect the Art Ross Trophy, the Hart Trophy, and the Ted Lindsay Award, all in one season. At the end of year number 4, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 35, 38, and 9. Unfortunately, missing the playoff. How the fuck are they so good last year, but now they suck this year? Bedard scored 45 goals, 54 assists for 99 points in 82 games. 5 years into his NHL career, and Bedard is a 95 overall. At the end of year number 5, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 48, 27, and 7. Bedard had an absolute monster season, scoring 62 goals, 48 assists for 110 points in 82 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would fall to the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Final. Bedard had another great playoff run, scoring 12 goals, 14 assists for 26 points in 22 games. Bedard would again pick up the Art Ross Trophy, the Hart Trophy, the Ted Lindsay Award, and the Maurice Richard Trophy. Now, I was going to say the Vancouver Canucks are as bipolar as a basic white bitch with a Starbucks addiction, because at one point in the season it wasn't looking too hot. They were 18 and 18, but they ended up turning it around, going 49, 28, and 5. Bedard was actually outshined by his teammate Elias Pettersson, scoring 113 points. But Bedard finished with 42 goals, 65 assists for 107 points in 82 games. And once again, the Vancouver Canucks will lose in the Stanley Cup Final, this time to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wow, they just can't catch a fucking break, huh? Bedard had a strong playoff run, scoring 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points in 25 games. Well, McDavid had a alright year, I guess, scoring 60 goals, 63 assists for 123 points. What's funny is he'll probably do this year in real life. At the end of year number 7, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 52, 21, and 9. Bedard had another dominating season, scoring 52 goals, 59 assists for 111 points in 82 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would lose in the 3rd round to the Colorado Avalanche. Bedard had somewhat of a down playoff run, scoring 5 goals and 6 assists for 11 points in 16 games. At the end of year number 8, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 57, 20, and 5. Bedard scored 47 goals, 49 assists for 96 points in 77 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would lose in the 3rd round to the Winnipeg Jets. Bedard finished the postseason with 10 goals, 14 assists for 24 points in 15 games. At the end of year number 9, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 53, 22, and 7. Bedard was again outshined by Elias Pettersson this season, scoring 51 goals, 55 assists for 106 points. Meanwhile, Pettersson scored 50 goals, 68 assists for 118 points. But the Vancouver Canucks would fall to the San Jose Sharks in round number 2. Bedard would have 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points in 11 games in the postseason. Heading into his 10th season, Connor Bedard is a 96 overall. At the end of year number 10, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 58, 21, and 3. Bedard finished the year scoring 36 goals, 61 assists for 97 points in 82 games. The Canucks would lose in the second round to the Vegas Golden Knights. Bedard would finish the postseason scoring 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points in 11 games. At the end of year 11, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 61, 20, and 1. Bedard would score 56 goals, 39 assists for 95 points in 82 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would lose in the first round to the Vegas Golden Knights. At the end of year number 12, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 48, 28, and 6. Bedard had a monster season, scoring 62 goals, 53 assists for 115 points in 82 games. The Canucks would lose in the first round to the Anaheim Ducks. Despite scoring 62 goals and 115 points, Bedard would not win one single individual award. At the end of year 13, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 48, 26, and 8. Bedard had 42 goals, 48 assists for 90 points in 82 games. The Vancouver Canucks are currently in the Stanley Cup final, and on their way to the final, they have not lost a game. They're currently 12-0, so there should be no excuse why we don't win the Cup this year. But still, somehow they would lose in 6 games to the Red Wings. At the end of year 14, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 45, 29, and 8. Bedard scored 52 goals, 41 assists for 93 points in 82 games. The Canucks are currently in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And after 14 long years, Bedard will capture his first Stanley Cup with the Vancouver Canucks. And there it is, the Vancouver Canucks are your Stanley Cup champions. It's about goddamn time. And there it is, Connor Bedard is your Conn Smythe winner. But here's the real prize that he's been waiting for the last 14 fucking years. And here goes Bedard, gonna raise the Stanley Cup for the first time in his career. It's about damn time, baby. Coming into year 15, Connor Bedard is a 96 overall. At the end of year number 15, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 42, 34, and 6. Bedard had a down season, scoring 46 goals, 32 assists for 78 points in 82 games. And the Vancouver Canucks would go back to the Stanley Cup final, but this time losing to the Montreal Canadiens. Bedard scored 13 goals, tallied 13 assists for 26 points in 23 games in the postseason. Coming into year number 16, Bedard has dropped 1 overall down to a 95. At the end of year 16, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 55, 19, and 8. Bedard had a bounce-back season, scoring 48 goals, 68 assists for 116 points in 82 games. But Vancouver would lose in the second round to the LA Kings. Bedard would win the Art Ross Trophy, the Hart Trophy, and the Ted Lindsay Award. Heading into year 17, Bedard has dropped 1 overall again to 94. At the end of year 17, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 56, 19, and 7. Somehow, with Bedard still regressing, he managed to have his best season to date, scoring 52 goals, 69 assists for 121 points in 82 games. But Vancouver would lose in the first round to the Minnesota Wild. Bedard would win the Art Ross Trophy, the Hart Trophy, and the Ted Lindsay Award. Heading into year 18, Bedard has dropped once again, this time to a 93 overall. At the end of year 18, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 57, 23, and 2. Bedard again lit the fucking league up, scoring 55 goals, 65 assists for 120 points in 82 games. This man is 35, he should not be doing this. But unfortunately, the Vancouver Canucks lost in round number 1 to the Chicago Blackhawks. Bedard would take home the Art Ross Trophy, the Hart Trophy, and the Ted Lindsay Award. Heading into his 19th season, Bedard is now an 89 overall, which doesn't make much sense considering he has 2 best seasons the last 2 seasons, but yet he regressed almost 5 overalls. At the end of year 19, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 46, 30, and 6. Bedard finished with 43 goals, 51 assists for 94 points in 78 games. And the Canucks were swept in round number 1. Heading into his 20th season, Bedard has dropped significantly down to an 84 overall. After year 20, the Vancouver Canucks finished with a record of 37, 34, and 11. And unfortunately for them, they missed the playoffs. Bedard had a great season, scoring 45 goals, 56 assists for 101 points in 75 games. And for his 21st season, he decided to join the New Jersey Devils. In year number 21, the New Jersey Devils finished with a record of 40, 37, and 5. Which means they were second last in their division. Bedard had 25 goals, 35 assists for 60 points in 54 games. In year 22, the Devils would finish with a 35, 40, and 7 record, which is good for last in their division. And Bedard would actually have a decent season at age 39, scoring 42 goals, 41 assists for 83 points in 80 games. And after leaving over a year ago, the Vancouver Canucks will win their second Stanley Cup, this time without Connor Bedard. Well, you made the wrong choice there. And after his 22nd season, Connor Bedard has decided to hang him up and retire from the NHL. Bedard would finish his career with the most goals in NHL history, scoring 1,014 goals. He also finished 4th in points behind Mitch Marner and Connor McDavid and of course Wayne Gretzky. He would also finish 4th in assists, scoring 1,232 assists, and had the 5th most 100-point seasons in NHL history with 10. Connor Bedard had a very successful career. In 22 years, Bedard collected 5 Art Ross trophies, 5 Hart trophies, 5 Ted Lindsay trophies, 1 Rocket Richard trophy, 1 Stanley Cup, and 1 Conn Smythe. His regular season stats were 1,703 games played, 1,014 goals, 1,111 assists for 2,125 points. Bedard's postseason stats were 230 games played, 125 goals, 149 assists for 274 points, and of course 1 Stanley Cup. Let me know in the comments who you would like to see next.